You're listening to the Icandemy Podcast, the podcast for people who can but don't know how. This is where you get actionable steps to turn vague dreams into blissful realities. And I'm your host, Omoshola Victoria Wolabi. So let's get started. Okay, listen up, coaches, aspiring coaches, course creators, and entrepreneurs. I am interrupting this episode real quick to share a gift with you. Yes, this is something that I wish that I had when I got started, because in my very first year in business, I made $0. Zilch. Nada. And not because I was bad at what I did, it was because I did not know how to attract my ideal clients. Running an online business is hard work. There's so many moving parts to it. So if someone had showed me this blueprint I'm about to share with you today, my life would have been so much easier. But I've put together a training for you over at learn.icandemy.org, where you will basically get behind the scenes look on the core things that you need to have to start attracting people who will pay you top dollar for your expertise. You also learn the science of sold out offers, how to create irresistible offers that turns cold leads into cold cash on demand. I'll also be sharing with you how to create your own automated selling machine. Imagine having a salesperson who works round the clock, no sick days, no leave days, on demand, working hard to attract your ideal clients and bringing them right to your doorstep. I share everything. I hold nothing back on this training. So head over to learn.icandemy.org if you've been thinking, how do I get clients online? How are these gurus doing it? How do they keep attracting all these clients? And I kind of struggle to find one. Worry no more. It's all waiting for you over at learn.icandemy.org. I'll be including the links in the description box below. Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of the Icandemy Podcast. How you all doing today? I hope you had a good week. Welcome to all you listeners who come back week after week after week. I really do appreciate you, and I do not take that for granted. So how was your week? Let me know. Send me an email to hello@icandemy.org. Remember, this is a place where you can turn vague dreams into blissful realities. And our job here is to provide you with the tools, the education, and the resources to turn those vague dreams into blissful reality. And once again, I'm your host, Omoshola Victoria Wolabi. And I just want to say thank you so much for always being here. Now, on last week's episode, we talked about the mystery of the bait, B-A-I-T, and how we have been put here on the planet as a light. And sometimes we get ourselves into situations that defy even our own understanding. And we think we're finished. We think that's the end. We think we're never going to get out of it. However, we have been designed as a bait. And I use the story from the creation story about Adam and Eve and how the devil thought he had them, but they had the devil exactly where he had to be. So the same thing goes for your life as well. I don't know what you may be going through right now, but whatever situation you think has you, doesn't have you. You have that situation because you have to be the light in that situation, right? So I'm just recapping on what we talked about last week. And if we look at the story in Exodus, when the Israelites were leaving Egypt, there was a particular verse in Exodus chapter 14 that talks about when God actually said, I will make Pharaoh think you are lost. You're going to be wandering around this area for a while, and actually let Pharaoh's army think you are lost and you are stuck. And when they attempt to come in for the kill, that is when I have them exactly where I need them to be to finish them off. So again, we see that this principle of being a bait has been one of God's favorite strategies in handling our enemies, in handling our mountains and our giants, right? It doesn't matter what it looks like in your workplace, in your business, in your family, in your marriage. It doesn't really matter what it is. You are a bait, right? So I just wanted us to recap on what we talked about last week. And this whole series on identity, my intention and my prayer is that it helps you to discover the truth of who you really are. Because the whole premise of our existence is for us to know that we have been put here on the planet for a specific assignment. And we have to understand what that assignment is. Now, before we can understand the assignment, we have to first of all know the truth about our identity, right? Because without knowing the truth of our identity, the assignment doesn't make any sense, right? So that is my intention with this whole identity series that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. Send me an email. Let me know what you think about them to hello@icandemy.org. Now, in this week's episode, I am going to be talking about the risk of ordinary. What does that mean? First of all, I'm going to start with the definition of ordinary that I found online, right? And it says ordinary, it means of no special quality or interest, commonplace, unexceptional, plain, or undistinguished, of a kind to be expected in the normal order of events, routine, usual, right? Isn't that boring? That's so boring, right? So I want to talk about the risk of ordinary. Now that we've established that we are a bait in whatever situation, that should give us the confidence to know that, because when you are in a situation and you know you are there to capture something, to hook something, you need some tools and resources to do that. When you understand your mission, it's like when you put a bait in the ocean to catch a fish, the bait is hooked on to the fishing hook, right? The fisherman doesn't just throw the bait in the ocean, because if he does that, chances are the fish is going to eat the bait. The hook plays a very important part. So when the bait is attached to a hook and is dangled into the water by the fisherman who is above the water that the fish cannot see. So the hook is dangling in there. And when the fish comes for the bait, then the hook hooks the fish, and then the fish comes over to the territory of the fisherman. So if we're a bait, we cannot do this by ourselves. We cannot function effectively as a bait if we think we're just ordinary baits, right? We need to understand that we are hooked to a fish hook that is controlled by the Most High, and He's there to rescue us out. Now, in order to be effective as a bait, we need a hook, we need tools, we need resources, right? And part of these resources is what makes us extraordinary. Now, a lot of us risk being ordinary because we actually don't know where we're bait. So now that we've established that, my intention this week is to show you the risk of going out as a bait just thinking you're just an ordinary bait, because you're not, right? Now, I remember when I first started out in business, and when I created my first product, I was so naive. I'd never done this before. And I said, oh my God, I don't know if it's good enough. I don't know if this is good enough. And I priced it for $9. I only priced it at $9 because that's what I saw some people doing online. So I priced it at $9 and I sold a couple of them. And then by the time the feedback started coming in, I was like, okay, this is actually good. My confidence grew, and then I priced it a little higher to $27. And then my confidence grew and I priced it to $47. And at $47, I sold a ton of that particular product. Now, here's the thing. In a place of prayer one day, I heard the Lord say to me, you need to increase the price from $47 to $97. And I'm like, no way. Like, there's nobody on the market right now selling similar products like that one that I was selling, that is selling it for $97. There's just no way, Lord, that it would sell. But I was obedient because I know that I am not wise enough, right? God is the ultimate. So I learned to be obedient even when I don't understand what is going on. So in obedience, I changed the price from $47 to $97, right? So I changed the price, and with my heart on my sleeve, I launched the product again. And I kid you not, the product did so well that it shocked me. It amazed me, right? It amazed me. I was surprised at how well it did. And that is what obedience means. That is when you know who you are. You don't compete with other people. It doesn't matter what other people are doing on the market. You tune in and you listen, right? You listen to your spirit, because the spirit that guides us and tells us where we're going. So when you know who you are, when you try to be ordinary, it's actually a risky business because you miss out on the people you have been called to serve, right? You play small because you don't understand your power. When you go into a job thinking you just have an ordinary job, when you start a business thinking you're just starting an ordinary business, when you go into a marriage thinking, oh, I'm just having an ordinary marriage, that's what you get. Ordinary. And remember what ordinary is: no special quality or interest, commonplace, unexceptional, plain, undistinguished, right? that's a boring life to live. But when you have an understanding that you are not just ordinary, I'll never forget one time we were at the dining table and my daughter was looking online through a clothing website and she saw this really beautiful three-piece suit for boys. And she turned to my son and said, "Oh, Garen, you look so adorable in this." My son turns up to her, looks at her and says, "I'm already adorable. uh, the suit would look adorable on me," right? And I was like, what? Who gives this 4-year-old this level of wisdom to articulate that? And I said to myself, if only we all believe that we are the X factor, right? We are the most important asset on the balance sheet. And as that, we have to be extraordinary. What my 4-year-old son was literally saying is, the suit would not make me adorable. I will make the suit adorable. Like, how did he know that? How did he know that? And if only we adults could really believe that, our world would be a different place. Okay, family, let's face it. We've all felt pain. We've suffered the losses. You know what it's like to want something so bad, but not see a path to its accomplishment. The question, however, is, do you know how to pick yourself up and move on despite what has happened? This is what I share with you inside of my new book, Good Medicine for the Crushed Spirit, a practical guide to helping you find purpose when adversity strikes. Inside this book, you will find personal stories, relatable biblical tales, and anecdotes that prove you are never alone in your despair and will inspire you to turn pain, discomfort, disappointment, or setbacks into something positive that works for you. So if you're ready to change your life in meaningful and purposeful ways, get your copy of this book today and let the transformation begin. Now, I want you to know today that when you walk into that job, when you go into that business, you are going to make it extraordinary, right? It may be an ordinary job. Yes, it may be an ordinary business. It may be an ordinary marriage, but the fact that it has you in it is going to make it extraordinary. Now, what does extraordinary mean? Extraordinary means going beyond what is regular, what is usual, what is customary. It means you are employed for or sent on a special function or service, right? That is what it means to be extraordinary. It means you were designed for a specific reason, sent for a specific people. So when you understand that, right, you talk different, you walk different, you build your business differently, you apply for that job differently, right? This is something that I do a lot. When I apply for a job, right, I tell myself, what value am I adding to this company? And that is what I tell myself. So when I go into that place for that interview, I don't go there beggarly. I go there knowing that I bring value to the table. Your company will never be the same again because I work here now. Get it? So it's not you just going for a job because you have to eat or you have to feed, or you're looking at your business like, oh, I really have to, overstretch myself and price my things really low on the business so that I can reach out to more people. No, the fact that they come to your business means their life will never remain the same again because they cross path with you. That is what makes you extraordinary, right? Because your light will hook them over. They will be brought over to the light because you are the light. It's just like when you put a pinch of salt, because the Bible tells us we are the light of the world and the salt of the earth. When you put a pinch of salt in a pot of stew, right? It doesn't matter how big or fat the meat is. It doesn't matter how plentiful the tomatoes and the other ingredients are. Just that little pinch of salt will never make that pot of stew taste the same again as when it did not have the salt. And that is who you are. So when you understand that, you don't play small. You don't play with being ordinary, right? The salt is so potent that you only need a little bit. So just a little bit of you, just a little bit of you is enough to make a huge difference, right? In that company, in your business. So the fact that you are in that business is already a blessing to your ideal clients. The fact that you work at that job, you sit at that desk is already a blessing to that company. But you have to make them see it. By the way you carry yourself, the way you walk, the way you talk, the level of excellence that comes out of you. Because when we are quiet and when we do not know how important we are, we rob ourselves and the people we are called to of that valuable message. Even it goes on. Like, sometimes when I was thinking about this in preparation for this episode, it actually bothered me. And I was reading in Psalms 8, verse 4. It says, this is King David speaking, and I think he was just asking God some questions, valid questions. It says, what is mankind that you are mindful of them? Human beings that you care for them so much. You have made them a little lower than the angels and crowned them with glory and honor. You have made them rulers over the works of your hands. You have put everything under their feet, all the flocks and the herds and the animals of the wild, the birds in the sky and the fish in the sea, and all that swim at the paths of the sea, right? When we don't know this is King David even baffling at the fact that he's so extraordinary and he's thinking, God, what is in me? What is man that you're so mindful? What is this creature that you're so mindful, that you care for us so much, right? That is how I want you to see yourself today. You are not ordinary. You are cared for. You are loved. You have been given godlike abilities. Gosh, do you know what that means? And then when we go further in Psalm 82, King David then tells us the risk. He tells us the risk of being ordinary. In Psalm 82 verse 5, it says, the gods, small g, the gods know nothing. They understand nothing. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I said you are gods. You are all sons of the Most High. But you will die like mere mortals. You will fall like every other ruler. So what he's telling us, he told us now in Psalm 8 verse 4. And now this is him giving us a clue. He's asking God, what is mankind that you are so mindful of them, that you care for them so much, that you have made us and you've crowned us with glory and honor. You have made us ruler over the works of your hands. Do you know God created everything on this planet before he made you? And then after he created all of these things, then he made you the ruler of everything. Did you understand what I just said? Imagine you work so hard for 20, 40, 50 years of your life, right? And at the end of everything, you pass on everything you've worked so hard for, your blood, your sweat, your tears, and you hand it over to your son, one person, and you say, here it is, it's all yours. Take it. That son did not work for it. They didn't sweat for it. They didn't do nothing for it. Do they then walk around saying, oh, I don't deserve this inheritance from my father? Hell no. I don't see anybody who does that. They walk in it in happiness and they cherish it. That is exactly how I want you to walk. But now King David tells us that when we do not know who we are, when we do not know that we are not ordinary, we walk around in darkness. And every day we walk around in darkness. Darkness in this context means a lack of awareness, a lack of light, a lack of knowledge, right? When you walk around, when you do not understand, when the gods do not know that they are gods, right? They walk about in darkness and all the foundations of the earth are shaking. So the reason why the earth is the way it is because most of us do not know who we are. So the foundations of the earth are shaken. And he goes on to warn us that if we do not rise up and understand that we are not ordinary, if we do not know who we are, we will fall like every other ruler. What he's talking about is we will fall like all the principalities and powers of darkness, right? So because we are the light, we need to understand that it is time to rise up and take our rightful place with boldness and confidence. So I want you today, wherever you go, whatever you do, understand that you are a spirit walking in a flesh, right? Therefore, you should not be afraid of anything. You should not be afraid of anything. What can mere mortals do to you? You are a spirit. You are not ordinary. You are extraordinary. You are extraordinary, and wherever you walk into, it doesn't matter if you don't look like it today. I remember one time I was on a bus. I think I was around maybe 16 years old, and I was on a bus I write about this in my book. If you haven't gotten it yet, make sure you head on to Amazon. It's called The Good Medicine for the Crushed Spirit, and get a copy of the book. It will bless your heart. So I remember when I was 16 and I was on a bus, and I sat on this bus. I saw this woman trying to get on the bus, and this driver was so impatient, right? He was just driving, and the bus didn't come to a complete stop. And this woman tries to get on. She had a baby on her back and a toddler in her hand. And some people in the bus were trying to help her up the bus because we don't have these really huge buses, right? For those in America, it looks very much like the school buses that are used in America. That's what it looks like, right? So this lady gets on the bus, and the bus is moving. The driver is just moving away, and she almost falls back. with the baby on her back. And I sat there, my 16-year-old self, looking at this woman, and I said, this will never be my life, where I have to have a baby on my back and my toddler, and I'm rushing on the bus and I'm almost falling off the bus. Your girl then did not have anything. I didn't have $1 to my name. I didn't have a degree to my name. I had no qualification whatsoever. I didn't know where my life was headed. But one thing I knew for sure was that was not going to be my life. Where did I get the boldness to declare that, knowing my circumstances was so bad at the time? That is the spirit in me that was speaking. And I did not know it at the time, to be honest, but that was the spirit inside of me speaking. So I want you to know that was the spirit confirming to me that I'm not an ordinary woman. And the same way you're not an ordinary woman, you're not an ordinary man. I need you to look inside, dig deep within and see that there are special qualities that you possess that nobody else in the world possesses. Nobody else has your fingerprints. Nobody else can ever be you. Okay? So I just want to leave you with that on this episode. Let me know what you think. Send me an email to hello@icandemy.org and come over on my Instagram. It's at VicTOWLABI, Vic Owolabi on Instagram. Come over to my Instagram and say hello. I love meeting you, right? So thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I'll see you on the next one. This episode is sponsored by our very own Mogul Mindset Training. Are you ready to embrace new experiences, see opportunities where you thought there was none, and totally surprise yourself? Because you can by unleashing the power of your mind. Mogul Mindset System is a 5-step system that helps you retrain your mind to work with you and not against you, so you can awaken your inner giant, 10x your impact, your income, and become truly unstoppable. The truth is, you, my friend, have a superpower, your creative genius, and I'm here to make that power multiply manyfold so you can get past fear, self-doubt, and finally start working and thriving in your life and business. Ready to unleash your superpowers? I thought you would. Head over to mogul.icandemy.org. That's mogul.icandemy.org to learn more. So there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And for more content like this, follow us on our social media handles. On Facebook, it's at Icandemy, the Facebook page. On Instagram, it's at Icandemy. Or come say hello over on my personal page. On Instagram, it's at Omoshola Speaks. On Facebook, it's Victoria Owolabi. Feel free to reach out, introduce yourself, say hello. I love meeting you. And if you have any stories that you feel will inspire another woman to action, I want to hear from you. I really do. I love hearing from you. Send me an email to hello@icandemy.org. So it's hello@icandemy.org.